Your mama's in special forces?
Yeah, right, sweetheart.
Officer Derek Matthews grabs the framed military photo from Zara Johnson's hands. The 16-year-old's eyes widen as he holds her mother's picture high above his head. Black women playing soldiers? That's rich. His voice drips with mockery. Without warning, he hurls the frame to the asphalt. Glass explodes across the parking lot. Zara's treasured photo of her mother in a Special Forces uniform lies shattered, boot prints already marking the fragments. Matthews towers over the teenager, his shadow blocking the afternoon sun. Zara drops to her knees, desperately gathering the broken pieces. Her school uniform tears against the rough pavement as shoppers circle, phones recording. "Get up! You're coming with me for lying to a police officer." He yanks Zara to her feet. Her torn photo crumbles further in her trembling hands. The military medals in the destroyed image catch the light one final time before scattering like confetti. Have you ever watched injustice unfold and felt completely powerless to stop it? Dawn breaks over Millbrook Heights as Zara Johnson's alarm buzzes at 5:30 a.m. Her bedroom walls tell a story of excellence. National Honor Society certificates hang beside debate team trophies. College acceptance letters from Harvard, Yale, and West Point are pinned to a corkboard above her desk. The smell of fresh coffee drifts upstairs as Grandmother Evelyn starts her morning routine. At 68, she moves with purpose through their modest two-story home. Family photos line the hallway, 3 generations of military service captured in faded frames. Zara pauses at the largest photograph. Colonel Maya Johnson stands with her Special Operations Unit in Afghanistan, desert camouflage stark against mountain terrain. The Purple Heart and Bronze Star citations hang beneath, their gold lettering catching the morning light. "Your mama called last night," Evelyn says, stirring eggs in the kitchen. Steam rises from the skillet as bacon sizzles nearby. "She's finishing up that classified mission. I should be home next month." The encrypted phone buzzes on the counter. Maya's messages are brief, coded. Location unknown. Mission duration classified. Even her own family waits in the dark. Zara walks through neighborhoods where old meets new. Mrs. Patterson waves from her porch, the elderly black woman who's lived here 40 years. Next door, a young white couple unpacks their moving truck. Gentrification creeps through these streets like morning fog. At Jefferson High School, teachers nod respectfully as Zara passes. Her GPA of 4.2 speaks louder than words. She tutors struggling students after school, leads the debate team, and volunteers at the food bank. Her reputation precedes her through every hallway. The Millbrook Shopping Plaza sits at the community's heart. After school, teenagers gather at the food court. Working families push grocery carts through the parking lot. Police cruisers use the area as an unofficial headquarters, officers claiming territory like urban wolves. Officer Derek Matthews patrols these lots daily. 20 years on the force, his reputation divides along racial lines. White residents see him as tough but fair. Black families whisper different stories. Complaints disappear into administrative files. His supervisor looks the other way. Inside her backpack, Zara carries her most precious possession. The framed photo of her mother's Special Forces unit never leaves her side. When anxiety strikes before tests or presentations, she touches the frame through her bag. Maya's strength becomes her strength. The afternoon sun beats down mercilessly as Zara exits the bus at the plaza. She needs a birthday card for Grandmother Evelyn. The Hallmark store closes at 6. Time pressure weighs on her shoulders as she hurries across the sweltering asphalt. Her phone buzzes with messages from friends planning weekend study groups. College applications loom. SAT scores await. The future feels both promising and overwhelming. She walks alone, separated from her usual protective circle of classmates. Military families understand sacrifice differently than civilians. Maya has missed 3 birthdays, 2 graduations, countless school plays, and parent conferences. Duty calls. Country comes first. The Johnson women accept this reality without complaint. Encrypted government mail arrives weekly, addressed to Colonel M. Johnson. Evelyn sorts it carefully, knowing better than to ask questions. Operational security demands silence. Even family members operate on a need-to-know basis. Local gossip networks don't understand Maya's absences. Some neighbors assume abandonment. Others whisper about baby mama drama. Few comprehend the reality of special operations deployments. The family endures judgment in silence. Matthews notices everything from his patrol car. Young black faces trigger his attention. Success stories like Zara frustrate his worldview. How dare this girl carry herself with such confidence? How dare her family claim military honor? The plaza buzzes with after-school activity. Children clutch their mothers' hands. Teenagers cluster around the GameStop. Senior citizens navigate with careful steps. This intersection of lives creates both community and conflict. Zara checks her watch. 4:30. Plenty of time to buy the card and catch the 5:15 bus. She shoulders her backpack, feeling the familiar weight of her textbooks and that precious framed photograph. Maya's image provides comfort in this moment of routine errands. The scent of fresh bread wafts from Subway. Car engines tick as they cool in parking spaces. A lawnmower hums in the distance. Ordinary sounds of suburban life surround her as she approaches the Hallmark store. In her pocket, her phone holds her mother's last message. Mission almost complete. Count the days until I hold you again. Stay strong, baby girl. Make me proud. The encrypted words feel like a warm embrace across impossible distances. This is where two worlds collide. Military excellence meets small-town prejudice. Academic achievement confronts institutional bias. In moments, Officer Matthews will step from his cruiser and change everything. The police cruiser's engine growls as Officer Matthews pulls into the plaza parking lot. His radio crackles with dispatch chatter while he scans for targets of opportunity. Zara walks past his windshield, backpack bouncing with each step. Matthews cuts the engine. His leather holster creaks as he adjusts his weapon. Something about this girl bothers him. Too confident. Too composed. Black teenagers shouldn't walk with such purpose through his territory. "Excuse me, young lady." His voice carries the authority of 2 decades in uniform. "Come here." Zara stops mid-stride. Her heart hammers against her ribs as she turns toward the approaching officer. The afternoon heat shimmers off his patrol car's hood, creating wavering distortions in the air. "Yes, sir?" Her voice remains steady despite the fear crawling up her throat. Matthews studies her school uniform, the pressed pleats, the Honor Society pin on her collar. Everything about her appearance screams achievement. This irritates him more than obvious troublemakers. "What are you doing here?" He steps closer, using his 6-foot frame to tower over her. "This isn't a playground." "I'm buying a birthday card for my grandmother." Zara keeps her hands visible, remembering her mother's lessons about police encounters. The Hallmark store closes at 6. "ID now." Zara fumbles for her student identification card. Her fingers tremble as she hands it over. Matthews examines it with exaggerated suspicion, holding it up to the light as if checking for forgeries. "Zara Johnson, 16 years old." He pronounces her name with deliberate disdain. "Where are your parents? Why aren't they supervising you?" "My grandmother knows where I am. My mother is—" She hesitates, unsure how much to reveal. "My mother is deployed overseas with the military." Matthew's laugh comes from deep in his chest. "Military? What's she do, cook in the mess hall?" The insult hits like a physical blow. Zara's composure cracks slightly. "She's a colonel in Special Operations Command." "Sure she is, sweetheart." Matthew's voice drips with condescension. "And I'm the President of the United States." Other shoppers begin to notice the confrontation. A middle-aged white woman pauses her cart to watch. Teenagers at the bus stop pull out their phones. The audience emboldens Matthews further. Empty your backpack. Let's see what you're really carrying. Sir, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just shopping for... Did I ask for excuses? Matthews steps even closer. The smell of his cologne mixes with the scent of heated asphalt. Empty it. Now. Zara's hands shake as she unzips her bag. Textbooks thud to the pavement. Homework assignments flutter in the warm breeze. Her calculator clatters across the asphalt, followed by pens and pencils rolling in every direction. Look at this. Matthews picks up her advanced placement chemistry textbook. Pretty heavy reading for someone your age. You actually understand this stuff? Yes, sir. I maintain a 4.2 GPA. Affirmative action, he mutters, loud enough for the gathering crowd to hear. These programs let anyone pretend to be smart. The framed photograph falls last. Maya's image in full military dress uniform lands face up on the hot pavement. Matthews bends to examine it, his knees popping audibly. Well, well. What do we have here? He holds the frame aloft like evidence in a trial. This supposed to be your mama. Yes, sir. That's Colonel Maya Johnson with her Special Forces unit in Afghanistan. Matthews' laughter echoes off nearby cars. Special Forces? You really expect me to believe this fairy tale? It's not a fairy tale. She's earned the Purple Heart and Bronze Star. She's currently deployed on a classified... Stop lying to me. His voice turns dangerous. Black women don't serve in Special Forces. They don't command anything except maybe a kitchen crew. The racial slur hangs in the air like toxic smoke. Zara's eyes fill with tears, but she blinks them back. Her mother's training kicks in. Stay calm. Document everything. Survive the encounter. Sir, I can prove everything I've said. Just call Fort Bragg and ask for... I'm done listening to your stories. Matthews grabs Zara's arm, his fingers digging into her bicep through her school uniform. You're under arrest for providing false information to a police officer. I haven't provided false information. Everything I've told you is true. Resisting arrest, too. Matthews spins her around, forcing her hands behind her back. The metal handcuffs bite into her wrists as he applies them with unnecessary force. Bystanders gasp. Phones capture every moment. An elderly black man takes a step forward, but Matthews' glare stops him cold. Does anyone else want to interfere with official police business? The crowd falls silent. Fear trumps outrage in this suburban setting where Matthews has patrolled for 20 years. His reputation for retaliation keeps potential heroes at bay. Matthews examines Zara's scattered homework assignments with theatrical disgust. Harvard applications, Yale essays, West Point recommendations. He waves the papers mockingly. Someone's got big dreams. Those are legitimate acceptances, Zara says quietly. I earned them through hard work. Hard work? Matthews laughs harshly. More like racial quotas and lowered standards. Real students don't need special treatment to succeed. He picks up her National Honor Society certificate, studying it like counterfeit currency. Fake achievements for fake people. How long did you spend creating this fantasy life? A young white mother pushing a stroller stops to watch. Her expression shows disgust, but whether at Matthews' behavior or Zara's presence remains unclear. The ambiguity of suburban racism plays out in real time. Ma'am, Matthews addresses the white woman directly. This is why we need strong law enforcement. These kids create elaborate lies to avoid taking responsibility. The woman nods uncomfortably, unsure whether to agree or walk away. Her silence becomes complicity in the unfolding injustice. Matthews holds up Maya's military photograph again, turning it so the gathering crowd can see. This girl claims her mother serves in Special Forces. Look at this obvious fake photo. It's not fake, Zara insists, her voice breaking slightly. My mother has served 3 combat deployments. She's earned every medal in that picture. Combat deployments? Matthews addresses his audience like a prosecutor before a jury. Black women don't serve in combat units. They work support roles, food service, administration, maybe communications. The racist assumption ignores decades of military integration and women's combat service, but Matthew's badge gives his ignorance the weight of authority. Please, sir. Just call Fort Bragg. Ask for Colonel Thompson in Special Operations Command. He'll verify everything. Colonel Thompson? Matthews laughs. Let me guess. Another black woman pretending to be military leadership? He's her commanding officer. He's white, male, 55 years old, served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He'll tell you exactly who my mother is. The specificity of Zara's details creates doubt in Matthew's narrative, but admitting error would undermine his authority. Better to double down on prejudice than acknowledge mistakes. Clever, he admits. You've thought this story through carefully. Probably practiced it in front of a mirror. Matthews deliberately drops the framed photograph. Glass shatters across the asphalt in crystalline fragments. Maya's image tears as the frame breaks apart, her military medals separating from her proud face. Oops. His smile reveals perfect white teeth. Guess your fake photo had an accident. Zara watches her mother's image disappear under Matthew's boot. The military medals, the proud faces of Maya's unit, the proof of her family's sacrifice, all ground into powder under his heel. Please don't. Matthews doesn't wait for her to finish. He grinds his boot harder, ensuring complete destruction of the photograph. Pieces of Maya's face scatter like confetti across the dark pavement. Now let's go have a real conversation down at the station. Maybe a night in juvenile detention will teach you not to lie to police officers. The radio crackles as Matthews reports the arrest. Unit 247 to dispatch, transporting one juvenile to detention. Charges include providing false information, resisting arrest, and disturbing the peace. None of those charges reflect reality. But Matthews has the badge, the car, and 20 years of credibility. Zara has only her word against his system. As Matthews guides her toward his patrol car, Zara takes one last look at her destroyed belongings. Her homework blows across the parking lot like urban tumbleweeds. The fragments of her mother's photograph glitter among the broken glass. The last thing she sees before entering the car is her calculator, cracked and useless on the asphalt where dreams go to die. The patrol car's air conditioning hums as Matthews drives toward the station. Through the partition, Zara watches familiar streets blur past. Her wrists ache where the handcuffs cut into her skin. The metal seats radiate heat despite the cooling system. Dispatch, this is Unit 247. Matthews lifts his radio with one hand. I need backup for a thorough search of the suspect's belongings at the plaza. The radio crackles back. Copy. 247, Units 189 and 203 en route. Matthews makes a U-turn, tires squealing against hot asphalt. Changed my mind, sweetheart. We're going back to collect evidence properly. 2 more patrol cars arrive within minutes. Officers Brennan and Foster emerge like predators sensing wounded prey. Brennan, 30-something with nervous energy, immediately defers to Matthews' authority. Foster, a 20-year veteran with dead eyes, surveys the scene with practiced indifference. What have we got, Derek? Brennan asks, his hand resting on his service weapon. Juvenile suspects making false military claims, father unknown, mother allegedly overseas, classic broken home situation. Matthews points to Zara's scattered belongings, need a complete evidence search. Foster kicks Zara's chemistry textbook with his boot. Advanced placement? These kids think they're smarter than they are. Affirmative action admission, Matthews agrees. Real students earn their grades through hard work, not government handouts. The officers spread Zara's possessions across the asphalt like crime scene evidence. Her honor roll certificates flutter in the warm breeze. College acceptance letters from prestigious universities lay trampled under police boots. Harvard, Yale, West Point. Brennan reads the letterheads aloud. Someone's got big dreams. Dreams built on lies, Matthews corrects. These diversity programs lower standards for certain people. Real merit doesn't need special treatment. Through the car window, Zara watches them destroy her academic achievements. Her throat constricts as Foster picks up her West Point acceptance letter, examining it like suspicious currency. Military Academy wants this girl? Foster laughs. What's next? The Space Force? Her mother supposedly serves in Special Forces, Matthews explains. Claims she's some kind of war hero with medals and everything. Black women in Special Forces? Brennan shakes his head. That's Hollywood fiction, not reality. Matthews retrieves the broken picture frame from where he'd dropped it. Maya's torn photograph shows only fragments now, part of a uniform here, a medal there, broken faces of forgotten soldiers. This was her proof. Matthews holds up the pieces. Probably downloaded from the internet and printed at Kinko's. Foster examines the fragments with exaggerated seriousness. Professional photo, military uniforms, authentic-looking medals. Someone put effort into this fake. Stolen valor, Brennan nods sagely. It's a federal crime to impersonate military personnel. The accusation hits Zara like a physical blow. Her mother has bled for this country, missed birthdays and holidays, risked everything in foreign deserts. Now these men reduce her sacrifice to internet fraud. Sir, Zara calls through the partition. Please call Fort Bragg. Ask for Colonel Thompson in Special Operations Command. He can verify my mother's service. Matthews ignores her completely. He's found his narrative and nothing will shake it loose. Check this out. Foster holds up Zara's phone. Password protected. Wonder what she's hiding. Probably drug contacts, Matthews suggests. These honor student types are the worst dealers. They fly under the radar. Want me to get a warrant for the phone? Brennan asks. Nah, we've got enough for juvenile charges. Let the family court sort out her lies. A small crowd gathers at a safe distance. Suburban shoppers clutch their purchases while watching the police theater unfold. Some record with phones, but none approach close enough to hear the officer's casual racism. Matthews opens his patrol car's front door and retrieves a digital camera. He begins photographing the scene. Zara's belongings scattered across the pavement, the broken frame, her textbooks splayed open like wounded birds. Document everything, he tells his backup. This goes in the evidence file as suspicious materials found during lawful search. What makes school supplies suspicious? Foster asks. Advanced coursework beyond her intelligence level. College acceptance letters she couldn't earn legitimately. Military photos she obviously faked. Matthews snaps pictures methodically. Pattern of deception consistent with criminal behavior. Each camera flash feels like another nail in Zara's coffin. Her academic achievements, her family's military service, her bright future, all being twisted into evidence of wrongdoing. The grandmother will probably claim military service too, Brennan predicts. These stolen valor cases often involve whole families. Generational welfare dependency, Foster agrees. They create elaborate fantasies to avoid taking responsibility for their choices. Matthews approaches the patrol car and taps on the window. Having second thoughts about your story, sweetheart? Zara lifts her chin defiantly. Everything I told you is true. My mother is Colonel Maya Johnson. She's serving her country while you humiliate her daughter. Still sticking to the fairy tale? Matthews laughs. Your mama's probably watching soap operas somewhere, collecting government checks. The racist stereotype burns like acid in Zara's chest. Maya sleeps in desert tents, dodges enemy fire, and leads elite soldiers through dangerous missions. The reality couldn't be further from Matthews' ignorant assumptions. She's been deployed for 8 months, Zara says quietly. She misses me every day, but duty comes first. Duty? Foster snorts. More like abandonment. What kind of mother leaves her teenager with an elderly grandmother? The kind who serves her country, Zara replies with dignity that makes the officers uncomfortable. Matthews slams his palm against the car roof. The sound reverberates through the metal like thunder. Enough lies! You're going to juvenile detention until we sort this out. How long? Zara's voice cracks slightly. However long it takes, Matthews replies. Could be days, could be weeks. Depends on how cooperative you become. The threat hangs in the air like summer humidity. In Matthews' world, cooperation means accepting his version of reality. Admitting her mother is a fraud, confessing to crimes she didn't commit. Brennan bags Zara's belongings as evidence. Her textbooks disappear into plastic containers. Her homework gets stuffed into manila envelopes. The fragments of her mother's photographs scatter like confetti when Foster dumps them into an evidence bag. What about her phone? Brennan asks. Keep it, Matthews decides. Might contain evidence of other criminal activities. That's my personal property, Zara protests. You can't just take it. We can and we will, Foster replies. This is what happens when minors lie to police officers. Matthews starts the engine. The radio dispatcher's voice fills the car with routine police chatter, domestic disturbances, traffic accidents, the ordinary chaos of suburban law enforcement. Unit 247 to dispatch. Transporting juveniles to detention facilities. The suspect continues making false claims about family military service. Recommend psychological evaluation. The dispatcher's response crackles through static. Copy 247, detention facility notified. They're expecting you. As the patrol car pulls away, Zara watches her destroyed belongings shrink in the distance. Pieces of paper blow across the parking lot like urban snow. Her chemistry textbook lies open to a chapter on molecular bonds, how elements combine under pressure to create something stronger. She thinks about her mother somewhere in a foreign desert, facing real dangers while her daughter faces fabricated charges. Maya has taught her about honor, duty, sacrifice. Now those lessons will be tested in ways neither of them anticipated. The juvenile detention facility looms ahead, a gray concrete building surrounded by razor wire and security cameras. Matthews drives through the entry gate with practiced familiarity. Last chance to tell the truth, he says through the partition. Admit you made up the military story, and maybe we can work something out. Zara meets his eyes in the rearview mirror. Her voice carries the strength of 3 generations of military service. I am telling the truth. My mother is Colonel Maya Johnson, and she serves this country with honor. Matthews shakes his head as if disappointed in a slow student. Have it your way, sweetheart. See how that works out for you. The detention center's steel doors close behind them with the finality of a tomb. The detention center's steel doors are about to close when Matthews' radio erupts with urgent static. Unit 247, Unit 247, priority message from Fort Bragg Command. Colonel Maya Johnson requested immediate contact regarding her daughter. Matthews freezes, his hand still on Zara's shoulder. The dispatcher's voice carries unusual tension. Military bases don't call local police unless something serious is happening. Dispatch, say again? Matthews' voice wavers slightly. Did you say Fort Bragg? Affirmative, 247. Colonel Maya Johnson, Special Operations Command. She's requesting status for her daughter Zara Johnson, currently in your custody. The blood drains from Matthews' face. Around them, other officers stop their conversations. The detention facility lobby falls silent except for the humming of fluorescent lights overhead. That's impossible, Matthews stammered into his radio. The girl was lying about military family connections. Negative, 247. Colonel Johnson is currently en route from classified deployment. ETA, 15 minutes to your location. Matthews looks at Zara with newfound uncertainty. Her calm expression hasn't changed, but something shifts in the power dynamic between them. The handcuffs suddenly feel like evidence of his mistake. Sir, Zara says quietly, I tried to tell you. Outside the facility, the rumble of heavy vehicles approaches. Through the reinforced windows, Matthews sees a convoy of black SUVs with government plates pulling into the parking lot. Red and blue emergency lights flash from an escort of military police vehicles. "What the hell?" Matthews whispers. The lead SUV's engine ticks as it cools. Car doors slam with military precision. Boot steps march across asphalt in perfect synchronization. Someone is coming, and they're not happy. The detention center's main entrance buzzes open. Colonel Maya Johnson strides through the doorway like a force of nature. Desert camouflage still bears dust from foreign soil. Combat boots leave precise prints on the polished floor. Her bearing radiates authority that 20 years of warfare has forged into steel. Every person in the lobby, officers, clerks, security guards, instinctively straightens. Military bearing commands respect, even from civilians who've never served. Maya's presence fills the space like compressed lightning. Matthew stares at the woman who supposedly doesn't exist. Maya Johnson stands 5'6", but her presence towers over everyone present. Special Forces patches adorn her uniform. A Purple Heart ribbon catches the fluorescent light. Combat infantry badge gleams above her left breast pocket. "I believe you have my daughter." Maya's voice carries the quiet authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. Matthews's mouth opens and closes like a landed fish. Words fail him completely as reality crashes against his prejudiced assumptions. The black woman he'd dismissed as impossible stands before him in full military regalia. Maya approaches Zara with practiced military bearing, but her eyes soften when she sees her daughter in handcuffs. "Are you hurt, baby?" "No, ma'am. But he destroyed your photo." Zara's voice breaks slightly. "The one from Afghanistan with your unit." Maya's jaw tightens imperceptibly. She turns to face Matthews with the focused intensity of a sniper acquiring a target. "Officer, I need an immediate explanation for why my daughter is in custody." "Ma'am, there was a misunderstanding." Matthews fumbles for words. "She claimed family military connections, and I thought—" "You thought what, exactly?" Maya's voice remains level, but danger lurks beneath the surface. "You thought black women don't serve in special forces?" The lobby witnesses Matthews' complete deflation. His earlier swagger evaporates under Maya's professional composure. Authority has shifted completely, and everyone present feels the reversal. "Colonel, I sincerely apologize. I was just following protocol." "Protocol?" Maya cuts him off. "Was it protocol to destroy personal military property? To handcuff a minor without probable cause? To make racist assumptions about military families?" Behind Maya, two more figures enter the lobby. Lieutenant Colonel Thompson, a weathered white man with silver hair, wears dress blues adorned with combat ribbons. Command Sergeant Major Rodriguez, a Hispanic woman with kind eyes and warrior scars, flanks Maya's left side. "This is my commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Thompson, and Command Sergeant Major Rodriguez," Maya announces. They wanted to meet the officer who finds it impossible for black women to serve in elite units. Thompson steps forward, his voice carrying the authority of 30 years in uniform. "Son, I've served with Colonel Johnson in 3 combat zones. She's saved more American lives than you've probably met in your entire career." Matthews wilts further under the collective military presence. These aren't the criminals or troublemakers he's used to intimidating. These are genuine American heroes, and his behavior has dishonored everything they represent. "Colonel Johnson earned her Special Forces tab the same way every operator does," Rodriguez adds, "through blood, sweat, and excellence. She's forgotten more about service and sacrifice than most people will ever learn." Maya kneels beside her daughter, producing keys to unlock the handcuffs. "These come off now." Matthews doesn't dare object. The metal restraints fall away from Zara's wrists, revealing red marks where they'd bitten into her skin. Maya gently rubs circulation back into her daughter's hands. "Mommy, I'm sorry about your picture," Zara whispers. "Pictures can be replaced, baby." "You can't." Maya stands, placing protective hands on her daughter's shoulders. Now let's discuss how this situation gets resolved. The power dynamic has completely reversed. Matthews, so confident an hour ago, now faces 3 decorated combat veterans who've witnessed his unprofessional conduct. His career hangs in the balance, and everyone in the room knows it. Outside, more military vehicles arrive. Word spreads quickly through military networks when one of their own faces harassment. The cavalry has arrived, and justice is about to be served. Matthew's hands tremble as he fumbles with his radio. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the air conditioning humming overhead. The smell of his nervous perspiration mingles with the institutional disinfectant of the detention center. "Colonel, I want to offer my deepest apologies," Matthews begins, his voice cracking like a teenager's. "There was clearly a miscommunication. I was simply doing my job, following standard procedures for—" Maya raises one hand, silencing him with military efficiency. "Officer Matthews, you accused my daughter of stolen valor. You destroyed military property. You arrested a minor without probable cause based purely on racial assumptions." Each word hits like a physical blow. Matthews staggers slightly, gripping the reception desk for support. The other officers in the lobby watch his public humiliation with a mixture of discomfort and fascination. Lieutenant Colonel Thompson pulls out his phone, scrolling through official contacts. "I'm calling your chief of police right now. This incident requires immediate administrative review." "Sir, please, that's not necessary," Matthews pleads. "We can handle this internally. No need to involve—" "Chief Carson? This is Lieutenant Colonel Thompson, Special Operations Command." Thompson's voice carries across the silent lobby. "We have a situation involving one of your officers and the harassment of a military family." Through the phone's speaker, Chief Carson's voice sounds strained. "What kind of situation, Colonel?" "Your officer Matthews arrested the daughter of one of my colonels based on his belief that black women don't serve in special forces. He destroyed military photographs and made multiple racist statements." The silence from the phone stretches like elastic about to snap. Finally, Chief Carson's voice returns, heavy with resignation. "Colonel, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Officer Matthews is suspended immediately pending investigation." Matthews' face goes pale. "Chief, you can't suspend me over a simple misunderstanding." "Derek, shut your mouth and hand over your badge." Carson's voice crackles through the speaker. "You've done enough damage for one day." Sergeant Hayes arrives within minutes, her 25 years of experience evident in her no-nonsense approach. She surveys the scene with professional detachment, taking in Maya's military bearing, Zara's torn uniform, and Matthew's obvious distress. "Colonel Johnson, I'm Sergeant Hayes. I sincerely apologize for this incident." Her voice carries genuine remorse. "This doesn't represent the values of our department." "Sergeant, I appreciate that," Maya replies diplomatically. "But apologies don't address the systemic issues that allowed this to happen." Hayes nods grimly. "You're absolutely right. Officer Matthews, surrender your weapon, badge, and patrol car keys immediately." Matthews' hands shake as he removes his service weapon from its holster. The leather squeaks as he places it on the reception desk. His badge follows, the metal clanking against the wood surface like a funeral bell. 20 years of service, Matthews whispers. "This is how it ends?" "This is how racism ends," Maya corrects. "Your service record ended the moment you decided my family was less worthy of respect than others." Command Sergeant Major Rodriguez steps forward, her voice carrying the weight of decades in uniform. "Officer Matthews, I've buried soldiers who died protecting your right to serve this community. They were black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. They all bled the same color. The detention center's security cameras have recorded everything." Maya notes their positions with tactical precision, already building her case for federal civil rights violations. "I want copies of all surveillance footage from the parking lot incident and this facility," Maya announces. "This goes beyond local police misconduct into federal civil rights territory." Hayes nods reluctantly. "Colonel, you have every right to pursue federal charges. We'll cooperate fully with any investigation. Chief Carson arrives with the sound of squealing tires in the parking lot. His heavy footsteps echo through the lobby as he enters, uniform wrinkled from hasty dressing. His face shows the exhaustion of a man whose department just became national news. Colonel Johnson, I'm Chief Carson. This is a disgrace to our department and our community. He extends his hand, which Maya accepts with professional courtesy. Chief, your officer's actions reflect deeper problems than individual bias, Maya states calmly. This suggests inadequate training, poor supervision, and institutional tolerance for discriminatory behavior. Carson winces but doesn't argue. You're right. We clearly have work to do. Outside, news vans begin arriving. Social media has already amplified the story beyond local boundaries. Hashtags trend nationwide. Hashtag justice for Zara. Hashtag military families matter. Hashtag accountable policing. Matthews watches his career implode through the lobby windows. 20 years of authority evaporate like steam in summer heat. His pension, his reputation, his identity as a law enforcement officer, all casualties of his own prejudice. Officer Matthews, Maya addresses him directly, you had multiple opportunities to verify my daughter's claims. You chose assumptions over investigation. You chose prejudice over professionalism. Matthews opens his mouth to respond, but no words come. What defense exists for the indefensible? How does someone explain away decades of bias in a single moment? The last thing he sees before being escorted out is Zara, standing tall beside her mother, both women radiating the dignity he'd tried so hard to destroy. 3 days after the incident, Detective Michael Torres arrives at the Millbrook Heights Police Department with a thick manila folder. His internal affairs badge catches the morning light streaming through the precinct windows. The coffee maker gurgles in the break room while officers whisper about the military family situation. Torres spreads Matthews' personnel file across the conference table. 20 years of complaints, use of force reports, and citizen grievances paint a disturbing pattern. The paper trail rustles as he flips through documented incidents that previous supervisors had dismissed or buried. 17 formal complaints in 5 years, Torres announces to the assembled command staff, all involving racial minorities. Excessive force, discriminatory stops, verbal harassment. How did this slip through the cracks? Chief Carson shifts uncomfortably in his chair. The leather squeaks under his weight as he reviews documents that should have triggered intervention years earlier. We followed standard procedures for complaint resolution. Standard procedures that allowed bias to fester, Torres replies coldly. The Johnson incident is the tip of the iceberg. Meanwhile, across town, FBI Special Agent Sarah Mitchell interviews witnesses at the shopping plaza. Her credentials draw cooperation from store managers who'd remained silent for too long. Security cameras yield hours of footage showing Matthews' pattern of targeting minority shoppers. The Hallmark store manager, Mrs. Lane, wrings her hands nervously. I saw him harass teenagers before, but nobody ever complained officially. People were scared to report police officers. Agent Mitchell's pen scratches across her notepad. How often did this happen? Monthly, maybe more. Always kids of color. Always some excuse about loitering or suspicious behavior. Mrs. Lane's accent thickens with emotion. I should have spoken up sooner. The investigation expands rapidly. Federal oversight triggers comprehensive reviews of police practices, hiring standards, and community relations. The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division opens a formal investigation into systemic discrimination within the department. At Fort Bragg, Colonel Maya Johnson meets with military lawyers specializing in civil rights cases. The conference room smells of fresh coffee and determination as legal strategies take shape around a polished oak table. The federal case is solid, Attorney Janet Walsh explains, adjusting her wire-rimmed glasses. Civil rights violations, evidence tampering, filing false reports. Matthews faces serious prison time. Maya studies the legal briefs with tactical precision. What about institutional changes? Individual punishment isn't enough if the system remains broken. We're seeking a federal consent decree, Walsh continues. mandatory reforms, community oversight, federal monitoring. This goes beyond Matthews to address root causes. News crews descend on Millbrook Heights like storm clouds. Satellite trucks line Main Street while reporters interview community members about their experiences with local police. The story spreads across national networks, social media platforms amplifying voices previously silenced by fear. CNN's evening broadcast features Maya in her dress uniform, medals gleaming under studio lights. Her composed demeanor contrasts sharply with footage of Matthews' aggressive behavior from the plaza security cameras. "Colonel Johnson, what do you want to see come from this incident?" the anchor asks. Maya looks directly into the camera. Real change. Not just apologies or sensitivity training, but fundamental shifts in how police departments hire, train, and supervise their officers. My daughter's experience can't be in vain. The Millbrook Heights City Council convenes emergency sessions as community pressure mounts. Citizens pack the meeting hall, their voices echoing off wood-paneled walls as they demand accountability and reform. Mrs. Patterson, the elderly neighbor who'd waved at Zara each morning, approaches the microphone with shaking hands. "I've lived here 40 years. I watched that man harass our children, our families. Today we say enough is enough." Applause thunders through the chamber. City council members, previously comfortable with the status quo, now face political pressure they can't ignore. Reform becomes a survival necessity rather than a moral choice. District Attorney Jennifer Wang reviews the criminal case files in her downtown office. Legal precedents stack like building blocks on her mahogany desk while she constructs charges that will survive appellate review. Multiple federal violations, she tells her prosecution team. Civil rights conspiracy, evidence tampering, filing false police reports, child endangerment. We're seeking maximum sentences to send a clear message. The grand jury indictment comes down like thunder. Matthews faces 18 months in federal prison, lifetime ban from law enforcement, substantial fines, and mandatory community service with military family support organizations. The charges make headlines nationwide. At the federal courthouse, Maya testifies with devastating effectiveness. Her words carry the authority of someone who's faced enemy fire and emerged stronger. Matthews sits at the defendant's table, his cheap suit a stark contrast to Maya's crisp military bearing. "Officer Matthews had multiple opportunities to verify my daughter's claims," Maya states from the witness stand. "He chose prejudice over investigation, assumptions over facts. His actions dishonor every person who wears a uniform in service to others." Character witnesses fill the courtroom gallery. Zara's teachers describe her academic excellence. Community leaders speak about the Johnson family's contributions. Fellow Special Forces operators share stories of Maya's courage under fire. Sergeant First Class Williams, a white soldier who'd served under Maya in Afghanistan, takes the stand with visible emotion. "Colonel Johnson saved my life in Kandahar. She carried me to safety under enemy fire. Any man who disrespects her disrespects every soldier who's ever worn the uniform." The defense attorney's cross-examination crumbles against overwhelming evidence. Video footage, witness testimony, and Matthews's own radio transmissions create an airtight case of deliberate discrimination and abuse of power. Judge Maria Rodriguez delivers sentencing with judicial gravity that fills the courtroom. Her voice carries across packed gallery seating where community members await justice. "Mr. Matthews, your actions represent a fundamental betrayal of public trust," Judge Rodriguez announces. "You swore to protect and serve, yet you targeted a military family with harassment and discrimination." The gavel falls like thunder. 18 months federal prison, lifetime ban from law enforcement, $50,000 in fines, 500 hours of community service supporting military families. The sentence echoes through the courthouse corridors. Matthews' appeals fail at every level. Federal appellate courts uphold both conviction and sentence, establishing legal precedent for prosecuting police officers who target military families with discriminatory enforcement. The civil settlement follows quickly. The Millbrook Heights Police Department agrees to pay the Johnson family $200,000 plus comprehensive reforms. Federal monitors will oversee operations for 5 years minimum. New policies emerge from the legal settlements. Mandatory bias training every 6 months. Body cameras for all officers. Community oversight boards with real disciplinary power. Zero-tolerance policies for discriminatory behavior. Command Sergeant Major Rodriguez addresses the police academy graduation ceremony, her uniform gleaming under auditorium lights. Respect for military families isn't just policy. It's fundamental to American values. Those who serve abroad deserve protection at home. The Matthews case becomes required study material for police academies nationwide. Law enforcement textbooks include the incident as an example of how bias and assumptions can destroy careers and communities. Congressional hearings follow, leading to the Military Family Protection Act. Federal legislation provides additional safeguards against discrimination targeting service members and their families by local authorities. Maya testifies before Congress with the same composure she'd shown throughout the ordeal. Military families sacrifice daily for American freedom. The least we can ask is equal treatment under law. The legislation passes with bipartisan support, creating new federal protections and funding for military family advocacy programs. 6 months later, morning sunlight streams through the windows of Jefferson High School's auditorium. The scent of fresh flowers mingles with the anticipation of 300 assembled families. Graduation day has arrived, and Zara Johnson stands at the podium as class valedictorian. Her navy blue cap and gown complement the gold honor cords draped across her shoulders. In the front row, Colonel Maya Johnson sits in dress uniform, her silver star gleaming alongside the Purple Heart she'd earned during her recent promotion ceremony. Grandmother Evelyn dabs at her eyes with a tissue, pride radiating from her weathered face. Fellow graduates, we've learned that justice isn't automatic. Zara's voice carries clearly through the sound system. It requires courage to stand up, voices to speak truth, and communities willing to demand better. The audience listens intently as she recounts lessons learned not from textbooks, but from confronting injustice head-on. Her words carry weight beyond her 16 years, forged in the crucible of that parking lot encounter. My mother taught me that service means protecting others, especially those who can't protect themselves. Today, I'm proud to announce my appointment to the United States Military Academy at West Point. Thunderous applause erupts from the crowd. Maya's eyes glisten with tears she refuses to let fall. 3 generations of military service continue through her daughter's commitment to serve others. Behind the graduation ceremony, Millbrook Heights has transformed dramatically. The police department operates under federal oversight, implementing reforms that have reduced citizen complaints by 80%. Community trust, once shattered, slowly rebuilds through transparency and accountability. Chief Carson addresses the monthly community meeting in the same gymnasium where protests once demanded justice. His uniform bears new patches indicating completion of advanced civil rights training. We've learned that serving all residents equally isn't just policy. It's our sacred duty. The audience includes faces from every demographic: Black families who'd feared police encounters, white residents learning about privilege, Hispanic immigrants finding their voices. Change flows through the community like spring water through parched ground. Derek Matthews serves his sentence at Federal Correctional Institution Beckley, where his prison uniform replaces the police badge he'd worn with such arrogance. His cell block assignment includes mandatory counseling sessions addressing racial bias and abuse of authority. During visiting hours, his ex-wife brings divorce papers that cite irreconcilable differences. His children, embarrassed by national news coverage, refuse contact. The consequences of prejudice extend far beyond legal penalties into personal devastation. His community service requirement, once completed, involves working with military family support organizations. Former enemies become teachers. As veterans share stories of sacrifice, Matthews never bothered to understand. Humility replaces arrogance slowly, painfully, necessarily. Maya speaks at police academies across the nation. Her presentation titled Military Families, Heroes at Home and Abroad. Training officers listen intently as she describes the military family experience, deployments, separations, the constant balance between duty and family. When you see a military child, she tells recruits, remember they've sacrificed too. Missed birthdays, empty chairs at dinner tables, worry about parents in dangerous places. They deserve your respect, not your suspicion. The training materials include video footage from Matthew's arrest of Zara. New officers watch the incident unfold, discussing decision points where bias overrode professionalism. The case study prevents future tragedies through education. Congressional testimony leads to expanded military family support programs. Federal funding increases for counseling services, educational assistance, and community integration programs. Maya's advocacy transforms personal pain into national policy. At Fort Bragg, Maya's promotion to brigade commander represents more than career advancement. She becomes the first black woman to command a special operations unit at that level. Her office walls display photos from Afghanistan, alongside pictures of Zara's graduation. The torn photograph Matthews destroyed has been professionally restored. Maya keeps it on her desk as a reminder that dignity survives even deliberate attempts at destruction. The images of her fallen comrades inspire continued service to military families facing discrimination. Zara's first year at West Point exceeds all expectations. She majors in international relations while maintaining academic excellence that earned her original appointment. Her professors note unusual maturity in someone so young, wisdom gained through adversity most people never face. During summer break, she returns to Millbrook Heights as a role model for younger students. Her story demonstrates that individual courage can spark systemic change when supported by community action. That day in the parking lot, I learned that staying silent enables injustice, she tells the middle school assembly. Speaking truth requires courage, but change only happens when we're brave enough to demand better. The final frame shows Maya and Zara together at the annual Military Family Appreciation Day, now held in Millbrook Heights each September. The event brings together service members, police officers, and community leaders in celebration of mutual respect and understanding. Officer Matthews thought it impossible for black women to serve in special forces. His assumptions cost him everything while teaching a nation about the price of prejudice. What impossible assumptions are you ready to challenge in your own community? Share this story if you believe justice should be colorblind. Subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more stories about standing up for what's right. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update about real change happening one conversation at a time. Tell us in the comments, have you witnessed discrimination against military families? How can communities better support those who serve? What will your contribution be to creating a more just society? Real change happens through individual actions multiplied by community courage. The Johnson family's story proves that truth and dignity ultimately triumph over prejudice and abuse of power.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.